Hey everyone, and welcome back to another edition of Noise News, Working from Home edition.
Yes, as you know, we all had a lot of working from home sessions before we went on break. But welcome back.
We hope you all had a safe and fun break. Now let's get right into our first segment today, a story on Spectrum students and their side hustles.
That sounds great. It's so cool for a high school student to run their own business or run a club. More on that with Ruby and Ari.
Most students at Spectrum have a job working at places like Target or Starbucks, but some have a more unique way of making some extra cash.
I have like a crochet business.
I make and sell earrings.
My side hustle is writing.
And others do it purely for the fun of it.
I'm an assistant to the middle schooler technology club.
Like with any business, student-run businesses find their own road bumps along the way.
Like I've always had trouble staying motivated and staying true to what I'm doing, keeping on going.
It's very improvised. It's like some of the time my lessons I come up with them like the period before I start.
Starting with a business can be rewarding as well.
The day that I published my book, it was like the most rewarding feeling ever.
Just seeing the smiles on their faces is worth it.
For the student entrepreneurs, many use their experiences now to determine what they want to do in the future.
Kind of makes me want to go into something like more artsy related or creative.
It made me know that I probably don't want to sell art for like a living.
So I've always had kind of this goal to go into the medical field, but since I've always been writing, and that's always a fallback option if I ever don't make it through medical school or something.
If something goes terribly wrong and I don't get my computer science bachelor's degree, teaching kids is kind of fun, so I might do that.
Running a business is full of its ups and downs, but all the hard work makes it worthwhile. This has been Ari and Ruby, Noise News.
Thanks, Ruby and Ari. Moving on to our next story, the letters to Congress that the senior government class wrote this year.
All of the seniors who are in government this semester were learning about Congress and what they do. What better way to learn about how citizens can influence their government than by trying to do it themselves?
And to sweeten the deal, there was even extra credit involved. To learn more about this, let's head over to a story I did with Elijah.
As an assignment from Mississuet's government class, the students were tasked with writing a letter to one of their representatives about a bill they feel passionately about.
I chose the Medicare for All Act of 2022. It's kind of what it sounds like. It's just a bill advocating for Medicare for everyone.
I chose the Good AI Act of 2021, which basically makes the government create restrictions on what data they can use for AI.
While a lesson on what is happening in the government right now, this assignment also showed students how they can get involved.
So the assignment for the students was to do some research on what laws are currently in Congress that they feel passionate about, something that they would be interested in, and to write a letter to one of their representatives in Congress expressing their opinion about that, whether they thought the representative should support or oppose the particular bill that the student feels is important.
Just do it, because a lot of people don't do anything with the government. They don't vote, they won't interact with it at all. They just sit there and watch it.
It's just practicing writing to your officials because they want your input, they want to know what the people want.
Hewitt's assignment also gave an extra credit opportunity.
The assignment doesn't require you to send it out, but there's extra credit if you do, and I was happy to send it anyway.
Even though it was an assignment, it should be applied to your real life. This has been Josh and Elijah, Noise News.
Thanks, crew. What a great story.
Well, we may be working from home this week, but our athletes have definitely been busy. And we'll be right back on the courts and mats for this week. Let's send it over to Ari with our sports for this week.
Welcome back, Sting. This is Ari with a new sports segment for the new year. This segment will now have more highlights and updates from each sport. Starting off, we are going to go back all the way to December 1st, with wrestling having a huge win against Trinity. Following that lead, dance had their fourth meet on December 17th, Varsity High Kick placed second out of 2 teams. Then Varsity and JV Jazz placed first in both of their events. Way to go, Sting! Their next event will be on January 14th at Cathedral High. Then we have boys basketball with a close loss against Annandale on Tuesday, December 20th. Their top players were Noah Miller and Will Lawrence. Also on the 20th, girls JV and varsity basketball both had great games against Big Lake High School. If you would like to see game times and locations, go to Spectrum homepage and under athletics you can find more information on that. This has been Ari with sports. Back to you, Aaron and Josh.
What a great recap of our winter sports season so far. Like Ari said, if you want to see the times or locations, all of that can be found on the school website, spectrumhighschool.org under athletics.
Lastly, to end off our show, a story about the flu. You may have noticed some empty seats in class, some coughs and sneezes that just seem to spread in every school.
That's right, flu season is in full swing. For more information on that, let's hand it over to Arik and I for more info on that.
According to nm.org, temperatures can increase your chances of getting sick.
So influenza, it's a virus, and there's a couple different types of influenza. There's A, B, C, and D, and the ones you usually see in humans are A and B. C and D, usually you see more in animals. But in terms of how it affects people, it's respiratory symptoms. So you can also have body aches, headache, as well as the rest of your body, sore throat, respiratory symptoms like cough, and usually have a fever with the flu. Sore throat, I can't remember if I said that. Sometimes you have the runny nose, not always, but more so. I mean, it's pretty common that if you've got a fever and respiratory symptoms, it's more likely that it's the flu instead of a cold.
The flu is everywhere. As many as 200,000 Americans catch the flu every year.
Great question. So most people catch it out just in the public around people who are sick. I don't know, have you ever heard of something called fomites?
I don't think I have.
Okay. A fomite is an object that basically transfers an infection. So a fomite could be anything that you see in your environment. It could be a pencil, it could be ash, anything like that. And so while it is a respiratory-borne illness, you're going to inhale it. Also, if someone is like this and then they go ahead and they shake your hand, you can also transfer germs that way. But it's primarily a respiratory transmitted infection.
With so many cases reported every year, there are bound to be changes.
I mean, we've had kind of 4 major outbreaks, I'd say, of the flu. The flu itself, the reason we have to get a new vaccine every year is because it is mutating. So you have kind of 2 main things that happen with the flu. You have something called drift, which is kind of how it changes each year. It kind of, the antigens on the outside of it change, and then we make a different vaccine that can basically recognize that. And then you've got something also called shift, which is when there's a huge change in the flu. So that could be more of an example of one of those animal flus switching so significantly that it became something that humans were now able to get sick by. So it is always changing. Viruses in general are always changing. And that's part of the reason why we have to have a different vaccine every year.
Having the flu cannot just have impacts on your health, but also your school life.
Really, just missing school for 4 days was not very beneficial. I had a lot of missings, and I couldn't get assignments done because some of them were assigned in class and not posted on Schoology, and that just really weighed my grades down. I'm still recovering from the grades now.
Not only can having the flu affect you, but can also affect the people around you.
I think the biggest thing is having students absent makes it really hard for them to be learning ASL. It's really vital that they're present to be able to learn the vocabulary, practice their signs, have me catch if they're doing stuff wrong. We also just had a test recently, and with lots of kids out, that means I have to pull a lot of kids for RTI, and then they're taking the test after we've started to learn new words, and that can definitely get confusing for them.
You can't completely avoid getting sick, but there are precautions you can take to help limit the symptoms, such as washing your hands and drinking plenty of water. This has been Aaron and Arik, Noise News.
Just watching that story made me sick. Remember, if you aren't feeling well, stay home from school. You don't want to get your other classmates sick.
Well, it seems that's all we have for you.
Wait, one more thing. For the seniors this week, good luck on your capstone presentations. We all think you're going to do amazing.
All right. Good luck, guys. Remember all the practice you put in. You're going to do great.
On that note, Spectrum, it's time to end today's show. This has been Josh
and Aaron,
keeping you in on the noise. Okay, I need to get myself centered in the screen.